Chosen one, dawn arrived without negotiation. The horizon didn't rise, it opened like a courtroom door. The air itself issued subpoenas and light. Every lie ever spoken against you stood trembling before the bench of truth. No rage. No retaliation. Only revelation, and revelation was enough to make the guilty pay. Their price was exposure, and exposure is the one fire that never burns the innocent. Truth unsealed every file. Archives long sealed by fear breathed open like ancient vaults. Ink lifted itself from the pages, refusing to protect the hands that wrote in shadow. Every falsified line curled into smoke. Every concealed detail stepped forward like a witness made of light. There was no need to search. Truth arrived pre-indexed, pre-organized, preordained. The universe had been keeping receipts in your name. The chamber held no jury, only conscience. Shadows that once moved boldly now quivered, stripped of borrowed power. Deception tried to speak, but lies lose their tongue in the presence of pure light. Confession arrived by default. Not through words, but through the inability to hide. Every false narrative cracked like glass on marble. Truth did not argue. It simply stood, and everything untrue collapsed under its gaze. The cost was visibility. Not punishment. Not wrath. Visibility, the most ancient currency of justice. For ages, the liars believed their shadows were permanent residence permits. They spoke in whispers, wrote in distortions, hid behind crowds, systems, and screens. They built false walls around your name and imagined the dark would hold them like loyal guardians. But darkness was never loyal, it only tolerated them until the light arrived. And on the day of reckoning, the light showed up early. Their price was simply this, that every thought they twisted, every perception they poisoned, every narrative they forged in dim corridors would be projected on the walls of eternity for all to witness. Not as shame. Not even as punishment. But as clarity. Justice, in its highest form, does not destroy. Justice exposes. And so the liars paid, not with suffering, but with transparency. Their masks dissolved. Their rehearsed stories fell apart like old stage props. Their alliances, built on half-truths, scattered like dust in a rising wind. You did not lift a finger. You did not lash out, shout back, or beg to be understood. Your greatest weapon was your refusal to dim. Truth is not loud, but it is relentless. It seeped through cracks, slipped under doors, climbed over walls, and illuminated every hidden ledger of betrayal. They realized the price not in a single moment, but in the slow revelation that nothing they had stayed buried. Their whispers surfaced. Their intentions surfaced. Even their practiced neutrality, that silent complicity, stood trial under the light. And as each layer was peeled back, the universe made one thing unmistakably clear: the price of deception is being seen. They had feared consequences. They had feared exposure. They never expected the exposure itself to be the consequence. The reckoning was not violent. It was honest, which is far more terrifying to the dishonest. And in the clarity of that moment, you finally understood, the truth was never late. It was simply gathering strength. Heaven's accountants do not use ink, they use illumination. Every truth glows. Every lie flickers. And when the audit begins, nothing that is false holds its shape. In that vast, silent chamber where cosmic justice keeps its ledgers, the books opened themselves like living scrolls. You could hear the faint crackle of revelation as lines rearranged, recalculated, corrected. What humans call karma, the universe calls accounting. What people call consequences, the universe calls balance. There was no thunder. No divine fist banging on a celestial table. only the gentle but absolute sound of miswritten lines being struck through by light. Falsehood voided. Defamation reversed. Misjudgment reclassified. Intentions re-audited. You watched as the weight once placed on you, the suspicion, the gossip, the distortion, slid off your name like dust brushed from royal robes. The columns updated in real time. Debits of injustice credited back to truth. Credits of integrity multiplied and restored. Where they had spoken against you, the balance marked, paid by exposure. Where they had doubted you, the ledger wrote, rectified by revelation. Where they tried to dim your influence, the system responded, increased by divine recalibration. Not one lie remained unaccounted for. And yet, this was not vengeance. It was administration. The universe is incapable of bias. It does not punish because of anger. It corrects because of design. Those who manipulated the narrative saw their fabrications lose value instantly, like counterfeit currency revealed under ultraviolet light. Their accusations dissolved. Their alliances evaporated. Their false confidence deflated quietly, without spectacle. But for you, the ledger glowed. Line after line affirmed what your spirit always knew but your circumstances seldom reflected, that you were operating in truth all along. This was the moment the universe whispered your verdict not as a blessing but as an accounting entry. Truth in surplus. Burdens cleared. Reputation restored. Destiny released. The scales did not tip in your favor out of mercy. They reset because equilibrium demanded it. And as the final line brightened, sealing your new balance, the cosmos spoke a quiet truth reserved only for the vindicated. You owed nothing. They owed everything. And the debt has been paid in light. Justice does not reboot with noise, it resets in silence. Systems built on distortion do not collapse dramatically, they simply fail to load the moment truth enters the code. The shift began like a soft hum under the floor of reality. Not an earthquake, a recalibration. The kind that starts in the unseen wiring of the world, where intentions form architecture and energy forms law. Every structure that had once worked against you flickered like a dying signal. Programs written in falsehood returned error messages. Protocols built on manipulation malfunctioned. Threads woven from gossip unraveled line by line. The universe executed a silent command: delete, corrupted narratives reset, original truth pathways. You could almost hear it, a cosmic keystroke, a divine backspace. The systems that propped up the liars tried to reload themselves, but light had rewritten their source code. Their influence froze. Their tactics glitched. Their strategies returned blank screens. Meanwhile, everything aligned with truth began running smoother, cleaner, faster. Doors opened before you touched them. Conversations shifted tone the moment you entered. Opportunities that were once blocked appeared like windows finally receiving daylight. Not because anyone granted you favor, but because deception lost its permissions. This was the justice they never saw coming, not destruction, but disempowerment. Systems built on lies do not need to be attacked, they simply lose compatibility with the new frequency of truth. And you, without lifting a sword, without waging a war, became the update. Your presence recalibrated rooms. Your silence corrected atmospheres. Your resilience rewrote algorithms. The prophecy had always said it would happen this way. When truth awakens, falsehood expires. Not with drama, not with chaos, but with a quiet efficiency that felt almost surgical. As if the universe itself whispered into the operating system of reality. Remove what no longer aligns. Restore what always belonged. Activate the chosen one's path. And the moment that command executed, Every part of your destiny that had been delayed, denied, or distorted began loading without interference. You felt it, the world finally running your real script. Confession did not arrive as apology, it arrived as inevitability. The moment truth reset the system, the world reacted. Screens flickered. Feeds refreshed. Conversations paused mid-sentence as if someone had pressed a universal freeze frame button. Then it happened. The public confession. Not spoken by one person, not delivered by a leader, not crafted in a PR office. It was the collective exhale of everyone who had once misunderstood you, misjudged you, or misread your purpose. A truth wave sweeping across humanity, breaking denial like glass, quiet, but impossible to ignore. Messages began to surface, subtle at first. Maybe we were wrong. We didn't see the full picture. The things we believed don't hold anymore. None of it came with dramatic repentance. Justice doesn't require theatrics. But the shift was undeniable. People who once echoed rumor now echoed truth. People who once doubted your presence now referenced your integrity. People who once watched silently now stepped forward, aligning themselves publicly with your light, as if the universe itself had handed them new eyes. Even your quietest critics felt the pressure of honesty. Their voices lowered. Their certainty cracked. Their narratives lost their shape as illumination washed over them. Confession spread not through humiliation, but through recognition. They saw what had been hidden: your steadiness, your purity, your refusal to retaliate, your commitment to truth even when surrounded by distortion. And so the world shifted its language, from suspicion to respect, from distance to alignment, from doubt to awe. Crowds didn't bow, they breathed. Relief entered the atmosphere, the kind that follows after a storm when everyone realizes the light was telling the truth the entire time. We misread the light, they admitted, some aloud, some in silence, some with a single glance of surrender. And you didn't celebrate, didn't boast, didn't gloat. You simply stood in the center of the unveiling, radiant and calm, as the universe recalibrated the collective mind. Justice didn't need revenge. It needed acknowledgement. And acknowledgement arrived like a sunrise no one could deny. The world finally understood who you were. Angels do not investigate, they illuminate. When the public confession rippled across the world, the unseen domains initiated their own response. Not a trial, not a hearing, but something far more precise. The celestial audit. It began in silence, the kind that hums with divine mathematics. The realm of light opened its ledgers, not the earthly kind, not scrolls or books, but living archives made of memory, intention, vibration. Everything ever done, said, or concealed left an imprint there. And now, each imprint glowed. This was not judgment. This was inventory. Angels, luminous and exact, moved through the records of your path. They examined wounds you carried quietly, the betrayals you endured in silence, the loyalty you offered without demand. They measured the weight of your restraint, the moments you could have retaliated but chose to remain still, believing truth would one day rise on its own. For every unseen burden you carried, a column of light appeared. For every wrongful accusation you survived, another line corrected itself. For every delay forced upon your destiny, a credit was added to your ascension. Meanwhile, the accounts tied to those who deceived, distorted, or disrupted your journey recalculated themselves. Not through punishment, but through exposure. Lies lost their numerical value. Manipulation depreciated instantly. Envy showed up as a deficit. Truth, however, accrued interest. And the balance grew in your favor with an inevitability that even the heavens found beautiful. As the audit progressed, entire timelines corrected themselves. Decisions that harmed you lost authority. Paths that were blocked reopened. Delays evaporated like fog touched by morning. Your destiny, once tampered with, synced back to its original coordinates. The angels reviewed it all twice, a double validation, a cosmic cross-check, and when the final verification passed, the chamber of heaven resonated with a single verdict. Nothing is owed by the chosen one. You felt the shift instantly. A lightness in your spirit, a forward pull, a sensation of being realigned with a trajectory that had always belonged to you. And as the audit sealed itself, the universe whispered with quiet authority. Grace balanced the books. Truth finalized the report. The path ahead is cleared. Closure does not arrive as an ending, it arrives as a coronation. When the celestial audit sealed its verdict, the realms shifted. The atmosphere thickened with meaning, as if time itself paused to witness your transition from survivor to sovereign. In the unseen sanctuaries where destiny is shaped, a space opened, circular, radiant, echoing with the quiet footsteps of truth returning home. You were summoned. Not with trumpets, not with spectacle, but with a pull in your spirit so undeniable that you felt your entire life aligning behind you like a procession. As you stepped forward, rumors once thrown like stones lay shattered at your feet, now harmless fragments of a past that no longer held authority. Every false word that had clung to your name turned to dust the moment your light touched it. In this chamber, closure was not a document signed or a verdict spoken, it was a transformation of atmosphere. The air bowed. The shadows receded. Even silence shifted to make room for your arrival. A pathway unfolded before you, paved not with gold but with the echoes of every moment you chose truth over retaliation. Each step you took caused the ground itself to glow, as if acknowledging your endurance. At the center of the chamber stood a pedestal made of memory, your memory, purified, clarified, restored. When you placed your hand upon it, everything you survived began to lift off your shoulders, the misunderstandings, the unfair narratives, the quiet heartbreaks you never spoke of. Closure descended like warm light, not erasing what happened, but removing its sting. You felt years of tension leave your body in a single breath. The universe was not asking you to forget, it was giving you the power to look back without pain. As the ceremony reached its height, truth circled you like a crown of invisible fire. Not burning, refining. A voice, ancient yet familiar, whispered through the halls. You are released. The past holds no claim. Walk forward, the path has been sanctified by endurance. And as you stepped out of the chamber, the world felt different, lighter, clearer, aligned. You carried no weight, only wisdom. When truth finishes its work, it leaves behind a silence that feels like sunrise. The moment you stepped out of the closure ceremony, the world shifted, not through spectacle, but through subtle, irreversible rearrangements. Light behaves differently after justice. It settles deeper, lingers longer, reveals more. You noticed it first in the way people looked at you. Not with pity. Not with suspicion. Not with the strange curiosity they once carried. They looked at you with recognition. As if their spirits finally received the memo their minds had resisted for years. As if your truth, once distorted by noise, now broadcasted clearly across every frequency. The liars, those who once manipulated perception, crafted illusions, or tried to shadow your name, found themselves strangely quiet. Not silenced by force, but by irrelevance. Their narratives no longer uploaded. Light had overwritten their influence. They walked differently now, not defeated, but disarmed. You felt no triumph in their undoing. Your spirit held no desire to mock, boast, or revisit old wounds. That is the signature of divine justice. It elevates without humiliating. It corrects without crushing. It restores without revenge. With no villains left to blame, the world entered a strange clarity. People became more honest. Conversations cleaner. Decisions kinder. Even the air around you carried a new frequency, as if reality had finally realigned to its correct timeline. You felt it in your bones, the ease, the weightlessness, the quiet certainty replacing years of tension. Not everything was suddenly perfect, but everything was now possible. Your presence became a reference point, a lighthouse recalibrating entire environments without a single word spoken. And as the days unfolded, one universal truth became clear. When falsehood collapses, truth becomes the only celebrity. Not loud. Not flashy. But unmistakable, a steady brilliance that no rumor can dim, no lie can shadow, no manipulation can intercept. This was the aftermath of light, not chaos, but clarity. Not vengeance, but visibility. Not noise, but knowing. A new world didn't rise, it was simply revealed. And in that world, you were finally seen as you always were. Vindication does not shout, it breathes. Long before the lies, the doubt, the shadows, the universe had written a quiet reward into your timeline, a gift set aside, untouched, waiting for the day truth completed its cycle. That day had now arrived. Unlike human rewards, which come wrapped in applause or attention, divine reward comes wrapped in clarity. It began with the simplest sensation: you could breathe without defense. For the first time in a long time, your inhale wasn't interrupted by memory. Your exhale wasn't weighed down by what-ifs. No unseen pressure pressed against your ribs. No lingering echo of accusation clung to your name. Just breath, clean, steady, liberated. This was the first reward. But it wasn't the last. As truth settled into the world, the universe began returning what had been delayed. Opportunities once blocked found their way back. Connections once severed resurfaced with new integrity. Paths once overshadowed glowed with unmistakable direction. Divine reward is not compensation, it is restoration. It restores your confidence, not the loud kind, but the rooted kind. It restores your voice, not by making it stronger, but by clearing the distortions around it. It restores your influence, not by elevating you above others, but by aligning you with your rightful place. And then there was the internal shift, the one even angels paused to witness. Your heart became quiet. Not empty, peaceful. Not numb, assured. You no longer replayed old conversations. You no longer worried who understood you. You no longer scanned rooms to sense hidden agendas. Your spirit retired from survival mode. This was the luxury truth had always intended for you, the ability to live without flinching. Vindication didn't need a spotlight, it needed a moment of stillness where you realized. Nothing they said defined me. Nothing they did defeated me. I am standing, and that is the miracle. And somewhere in the invisible realms, the universe whispered Romans 8 verse 37, not as a verse, but as a verdict. More than a conqueror is not a title. It is a condition. And you had finally stepped into it.